So a couple months ago, we faced one of the hardest moments a pet owner can experience. And we had to say goodbye to our beloved 17-year-old cat, Leo. Now, he had been sick for a while, and after we were talking with our vet, we realized there really wasn't anything more that could be done for him. And so we made the incredibly difficult decision to let him go peacefully at home with us. And that's when we found this company called Lap of Love, who is a pet hospice company that supports families going through the loss of their pets. And while the circumstances were painful, what we experienced during that time left me thinking deeply about something that I've spent my entire life focused on, which is really the customer experience. All right, so this story isn't just about grief. It's about what exceptional service looks like and how any business can learn from it. Now, as someone who grew up around customer service, literally, it's hard for me not to notice the details in any interaction that I have. Now, my parents built their careers on helping companies serve people better, and now I do the same. And when I think back to when my dad went through his cancer treatments back in 2020, one of the first things he did after completing his chemo and radiation treatment was write about the incredible experience and shoot a video about the experience that he had with his healthcare team. All right, and you can see that video right up here. And this wasn't just from a personal perspective, all right, but it was from a business lens. Now, how they treated him, how they followed up, it all made a lasting impression. And that always stuck with me. So when we went through this experience with the loss of Leo, I found myself doing the same thing, noticing what Lap of Love did, how they made us feel, and how any organization can learn from it. And so here are 3 big lessons that I took away that I think you can benefit from. All right, number 1 is training. Training sets the tone. Now, it started with the phone call. All right, my wife was actually the one who called Lap of Love, and it was clear from the first moment of interaction that this company invests heavily in training. The person who answered the phone, they were calm, professional, and incredibly kind. Within minutes of the call ending, we received emails with resources on how to cope with grief, including advice on talking to our kids about what was going on. Now, Leo had been around for their entire lives. Right? And while we've lost family members before, our kids were either too young or to really fully grasp what was going on, or maybe they really hadn't even met them but once or twice in their lives. All right, so this was different. This was something real. This was personal. And Lap of Love really understood this. They helped us prepare emotionally, practically, and that came through because their people weren't just reading a script. They were prepared for the moment. And that's what training really does. It creates confidence, gives a power of consistency, and really gives an air of calmness as you go through the whole interaction. So the second thing I took away is the power of care and attention to detail. All right, so the next day, Dr. Mimi, when she arrived at our home, all right, from the moment she walked into the door, we could feel the difference. We could feel the warmth and the love here. All right, she greeted both of us with a hug. She said she was so sorry for what we were going through, and you could tell she meant it. She was genuine. Then she noticed something small. She noticed that we weren't wearing shoes, so she quietly removed hers as well. Now, it wasn't something that we would have asked her to do or expected, but she noticed. And that moment really told us something. It told us she was paying attention. She respected our space, and by extension, she respected us. So she sat with us. She asked about Leo. She explained the process with so much compassion and clarity. And then she asked if we wanted any calming music to play in the background, which was something that we really hadn't even thought about. But when she turned it on, it had this power. It completely shifted the energy in the room. It brought peace to what was a very, very hard moment. And in the moments after Leo passed, she carefully made a clay paw print and gently positioned him in his final resting pose. Now, these might have been their standard operating processes, but nothing about this felt routine. It felt special, and it really had a sacred feeling to it, and we were going through something genuine and unique. And when we talk about empathy in business, this is what we mean. Being fully present, noticing the small things, meeting the people where they are. Those moments stay with you, far beyond the transaction. And then number 3, the follow-up. Always, always, always follow up. All right, so the care didn't end just when Dr. Mimi left. All right, the next day, we received a follow-up email from her. She thanked us for letting her be there for us. She included additional support materials on grief, and most importantly, she acknowledged the emotional weight of what had happened. And then about a week later, we got a handwritten card in the mail from her. A simple message, just a few sentences, but it said everything. And we both had the same thought. She was really, really special. Following up is one of the most underrated tools in business. Whether it's after a sale or after a missed opportunity or after a service like this, it communicates that you still care, that the relationship didn't end when the job was over. And that creates loyalty. It creates trust. It creates stories that people like me go on to share. From start to finish, our experience with Lap of Love left no room for improvement. All right, and while that level of service doesn't happen by accident, It is built on clarity of purpose, on consistent training, and a deep understanding of what the customer is feeling in that moment. All right, so while I hope to never have to use their service ever again, I know if I ever need to, I'm going to go back to Lap of Love, and I would recommend them to anybody that asks. So whether you run a veterinary clinic, a restaurant, a tech company, or a hospital, this matters. Train your people well. Lead with care, lead with empathy. Sweat the small stuff, and always, always, always follow up. Because in the end, it really does matter. All right, Leo meant the world to us. And thanks to Lap and Love, we were able to really honor him and say goodbye to him in a way that mattered, in a way that I think honored our love for him. And that is the power of truly exceptional customer service. Oh, I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you ever want additional resources from Snow & Associates on how you can build a loyalty driving experience in your company, you can visit us at www.snowassociates.com. And I'm also going to include the website to Lap of Love down there in the description below. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you in the next video.